Blast me to Alectia. It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey, issue 55. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. We're starting delivery 15 and we have issue 55 here with us. And we get our second set of pipes. So, same set we got in issue 37, but as I'm going to show you later in the video, there's more you can do with these than what the magazine does tell you. So, we'll dive into the magazine, we'll come back to these and have a bit closer look in the overhead cam, and then I'll show you what I've done with my older sets. So here's our magazine. So in this we build and paint your terrain. We got some new techniques, which is pretty cool. We learn about the Iron Hands, Space Marines, and we have stratagems for our Adeptus Mechanicus force. So first off, we've got a battle record for the Battle Zone Mechanicus Theatre of War. This one is the Alectia Battle Zones. 2 new bits of lore, Iron Hands, and all about the Ecclesiarchy. Building and painting our plasma conduits. We've got our Mechanicus, stratagems, secondary objectives, which are used for the first time in this mission, and the mission itself, the Generatorum. So this is another theatre of war, and much like the other ones, we've got a little bit of background on this side. So, Alectia Battle Zone, Mechanicus powering the defence. Alectia is predominantly a place of worship and pilgrimage, yet it is also heavily defended. The Basilica of St. Marcius bristles with las batteries, missile racks and other defences. To power these weapons systems requires a power network with great reach and incredible capacity. So we've got the Factorum structures, the plasma reactors, Cog Mechanicus symbol decorated all over, and the actual plasma conduits themselves. And on the other side we've got our usual, we can record it. So the Generatorum network name, so this is the Plasma Channel Deltaris. We've got a D6 chart here. And its power destination, again another D6 chart. Mine is to boost the shield. Then we got our Battle Zones map here. So we've got 4 locations we're actually doing our battles over. So we've got D6 chart again. So I've got the Generator Core as A, Heat Transfer Unit as B, the Cooling Facility as C, and the Energy Flow Control Center at D. So when we write down the locations and tick off who has won, and we also write down our secondary objectives, which are later on in the magazine. Moving on to our background then, so we got the Iron Hands, the sons of Ferrus Manus. The Iron Hands are among the Imperium's most relentless defenders. They seek to emulate the cold, emotionless logic of the machine, willingly trading away flesh for superior augmetic enhancements. Another of the founding chapters and legions of Space Marines, the Iron Hands, were again founded during the days of the Horus Heresy, where they were led by their Primarch Ferrus Manus, who was a mighty warrior and an artisan. He was defeated at Isstvan V by his brother Fulgrim, in a one-on-one duel where Fulgrim cheated. The Iron Hands, though, have deemed that his death was due to his emotional state and deemed this a weakness to all their brothers. They have since started replacing more and more of their bodies with augmetics over the years. They also diverge from the Codex Astartes. Most notably, they have a Iron Council, which helps lead the chapter, with the chapter master being the head of the council. And it is the council that helps oversee the chapter and decides when a new leader is required. Most notable members of the Iron Hands is the Iron Father Malkan Pyros. So he is a Iron Father. He has served on the Iron Council for many years, many centuries even. And despite the chapter's love for eliminating emotions, he does feel that it is important to go into battle with a little bit of emotion and also combine it with his logic as well. So in this, he is a bit of an outsider, or seen by the other members of the chapter. He does wield some awesome weapons, so he's got the Power Axe Harrow Hand and Gorgon's Wrath, a Artificer Stormbolter. Most notable of the Iron Hand's quotes is, "The flesh is weak," so even at the initiate level, they will often sever their left hand and replace it with a bionic one, and over the years, they might even replace legs and internal organs. Moving on then, so this is another page for the Adeptus Sororitas, and this focuses all on the Ecclesiarchy. Whilst the Adeptus Sororitas are the only official standing army of the Imperial Creed, the Ecclesiarch's crusades and holy wars attract throngs of willing combatants to their side. Armoured crusaders, pious priests, missionaries, and penitent throngs of followers all fight in the defence of faith. So this explains a little bit about how the fighting orders of the Ecclesiarchy are formed. So the only one that is deemed by the decree passive that the church has as an official form of defense is the Battle Sisters, as we know. But during Wars of Faith, pilgrims, crusaders, penitents all flock towards imperial ecclesiarchal worlds, and they form into bands of warriors, usually using combat blades, stub pistols, etc. So these are sort of an unofficial army, but still, as I was saying, these are an unofficial army, and as such, aren't usually falling under the decree passive, etc. Right, so other units we might see, so we've got missionaries and preachers, who are often the leaders of the war bands, and often get attached to other squads. We have death cult assassins, so these are a cult of imperial worshippers who sacrifice the enemies that they slay in battle in the name of the god emperor. Some deem it a little heretical, but the church is always happy to have warriors join their bands. And then we have Crusaders, so these are much like your classic knights. Full plate armour, giant towering shield, and a sword. And they all backed up by faith, of course. So men and women, expert swordsmen, all Crusaders are capable of holding their own against the most powerful of opponents. So moving on, we got our building guide for the issue. Much the same as our previous one. So like I said, the magazine will tell you to build it one way. It's just to make it easier for setting up on your games, but there are going to be a few ways to show you, which I'll show you shortly. And then again, we got our paint guide, so we'll skip over the stuff we've done already. And here's where things start to change. So, updating our paint guide so you can go back and get your other models as well. So we're going to relayer the power cell areas with Macragge Blue just to help brighten them up again after the non-oil wash. We're layering Mephiston Red over the Khorne Red areas and then edge highlighting the Khorne Red and the Mephiston Red areas with Wild Rider Red. Dry brushing all our metals with Stormhost Silver. Then we're filling down some Mournfang Brown and Trollslayer Orange and applying this as a glaze into the recesses just to give a nice rust effect. You might want to do quite a lot of the Mournfang Brown, but only do very little areas with the Trollslayer Orange. Then we're touching up any areas with an edge highlight of Stormhost Silver. Then we're painting our skulls on our power bank, so we're doing Rakoff Flesh, Agrax Earthshade, relayering of Rakoff Flesh, and then highlighting the edges of Powered Witch Flesh. And there's our finished pipes. Right, let's cover our new rules before we get into the overview of the frames, and I'll show you the additional components that ways you can build up the pipes. So we got our Mechanicum stratagems here, so Machine Superiority, Elimination Volley, Data Blessed, Auto Sermon, and Galvanic Volley Fire. And on the back we got a tutorial, so the Galvanic Volley Fire changes the weapon profiles of all the Galvanic weapons, so from heavy 2 to rapid fire 2, plus they get your making you fire double shots at 15 inches, so 4 shots instead of your 2, which is pretty good. And then the Data Blessed Auto Summon allows you to pretty much choose a canticle that is different to the one that's already active, and you can benefit it to a single unit. So in this case, the Tech Priest benefits the Cataphrons within 6 inches, and the Cataphrons go off and make use of that one-time use canticle. So new to our battles from this issue onwards is secondary objectives. So we got 4 on the sheet. Purge the enemy, slay the warlord objective, which is an end game, so you score 6 points at the end of the game by defeating the enemy warlord. No mercy, no respite. So this is attrition, which is a progressive objective, scoring 4 points at the end of each battle round if more enemy units than friendly were destroyed. Battlefield Supremacy, which is a domination with progressive. Score 3 points if you control more than half the total number of objective markers on the battlefield at the end of your turn. Shadow Operations, raise the banners high, progressive and endgame. So this one you get points for each objective that your troops unit has raised a banner on. And you get more points at the end of the game if you still have them active. And we got a reference. We have a tutorial on the back, so explaining the difference between progressive and endgame ones. So we got attrition here, which you score 0044 for a total of 8 at the end of the game. Slay the warlord here, you only ever score at the end of the game, so it gives you 6 at the end of the game. And we got a tutorial on how to do raise the banners high. So troop unit at the start of their is it start or end? I think it's end of their movement phase, and they're on the objective. They raise the banner. They score points in the next 2 turns for staying on the banner. By turn 4, though, the sisters have been destroyed by Scorpion destroyers, and you get no victory points as the banner has been defeated. So next up, we've got our mission Generatorum. So we'll go on to that shortly. So let's have a look at our frame and also the other ways we can build the pipes. So here's the frame. Like I said, it's exactly the same as the one we got in 37, but still it is a rather nice set of terrain pieces, and they can be used in a variety of ways. There's the ugly underside, so all of this is going to be glued together. There are 2 pipes that can be swapped between each other. Other than that, they have only one way they can be built, the other 2. I've got a feeling it's this one, this one, this one, and this one that are all interchangeable between each other. And then the other ones have to go together the same way. But there we have it. And I'll bring in some of my own pipes and show you other ways of how to build them up. So here are the pipes as the magazine says to build them. So we've got a single piece, a long one with a downward curve, the power bank, and we've got this rather gun-shaped sort of one here with a junction. So one of the fun things I like to do to help make your pipe networks look a little bit more flexible is to build up a section like this. So this is just the gentle curve here, and I stuck a foot in the center there, and that means we can fit it into place like so. Another thing I've done here is I've took the normally downward facing pipe and given a more sharper curve, so that we can get some different angles and build some different pipe works. This one I've built and glued on a bend here, so we got a separate section that junctions off from the main pipe here. Little conversion I've done here is remove the bolt here. That way I can have a separate foot and connect them up, just to make them a little bit more stable. So this is one I've converted using 2 different types of pipe. So normally you'd have the other junction piece on the opposite side of this, but I've just made it as a solid bar. And on the center I filed down the bolt and put on a magnet. Then this small section of pipe I've put a bit of frame and a magnet there. I've glued a foot halfway onto the pipe so that I can magnetize there and connect up to another set of pipes like so. And the other final thing that I want to show is requiring this. So this small piece of damaged pipe is pretty much an optional extra. You can put it wherever you fancy. So we can either glue it on this side here, any which way you want, or else they do actually fit inside there like so. I know this one is slightly damaged, but the ones on the larger ones that are fully circled, they will fit in perfectly. And it just gives you a nice little bit of optional detailing to add to your buildings. So there we have it. Let's set up our battlefield for issue 55. Just before I do get into the battle, I forgot to show off this. So one thing you can do with the pipes is make a set of legs for a walkway, as they are the same height as these walkways. I've even put a power bank up there, so it looks like they're going into something. But that does look rather nice, I think. I'm going to do the same over this side, I think, with the others. So yeah, right, on to issue 55's battle. Hi guys, Merlin here. Before we get into our battle report, here's today's question of the video. So, my question is, which do you prefer? Do you like the top-down battle reports that I'm currently doing? Or would you like to see a little more cinematic, like the Tabletop Donkeys do, with dice rolls and a little bit more of an action scene? So, drop your answers in the comments down below, and I will see you after the battle report. Okay, we are set up and deployed. So, this mission has 4 objectives in the centre of the battlefield there. These are worth 5 points to whoever can control them. We've also elected to have the attrition secondary objective. So we score 4 points if we destroy more enemy units in a turn than friendly units have been destroyed. And for deployment, I've gone for pretty much a solid line each side. So we've got the Cataphrone destroyers backed up by the Tech Priest engine seer there, the Rangers and the Dominus, Seraphim hiding out behind the building here, waiting to jump in last minute. Battle Sisters here, ready to gain cover from the building with the Canoness backing them up. Then we've got the Scarabs, Plasmance and his Crypto Thralls, Overlord and his Immortals, 2 squads of Warriors, Flayers and Reapers, and then we've got the Reanimator there. So again, the mission doesn't say how many command points we got, but I'm going with 3 at the start, then 1 each turn from turn 2 onwards, just to help make sure we use those new Mechanicum stratagems that we've got. So all that's left to do then is to have some dramatic reading before we start getting into the action. The Generatorum. The Necron legions have begun to focus their assaults upon key infrastructure, predominantly power stations, plasma cores, and ammunition depositories. The Order of our Martyred Lady face a desperate battle to hold back the Necron tide and maintain power to the city's defences, fabrication facilities and Medicae stations. The conflict rages across several levels of the Hive City. Necrons, Overlord, Plasma Purge. Frustrated by continuing human resistance, the Necron Overlord has turned his attention to destroying the Hive's remaining infrastructure. Denied supplies and power, perhaps the defenders of Alectia can be shepherded into an ever-reducing pocket of the Hive City to be picked apart by continual assaults. Imperium Canoness, Protect and Hold. Pressed back by the Necron advance, the Adeptus Sororitas and the Adeptus Mechanicus have been forced to retreat. Only a few remain to defend the Generatorum districts, an important task with no prospect of escape. They must hold these positions for as long as possible in order to delay the Necron advance. So there we have it. All what's left to do is decide who gets first turn, and as usual, we'll roll off. So, yellow for the Imperium and green for the Necrons. And the Imperium have gone mad with a 5, so... Ready to begin Imperium Turn 1, so I have Divine Guidance active, no imperatives, but I have got Invocation of Machine Vengeance, so a little bit extra movement for the Cataphrons. And for the Necrons, I've got Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant, so extra or abilities all round. But here we go with Imperium Turn 1. Okay, end of Imperium Turn 1, everything has advanced as planned, except for the Seraphim, they're holding back. The Skitarii shot everything they could into the warriors, inflicting 4 wounds, killing 2 who got back up. So I took 2 off the back and put them forward, and the Arquebus shot at the Overlord, taking off a wound. So, on to Necrons Turn 1, and we have Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant active, so extra aura abilities. Okay, end of Necrons Turn 1, so we've just moved up with everything into position. They've shot at the Skitarii, taking down 2 of them. So they will need to take a morale test, though they can't really fail. 4 plus 2 is 6, and the highest leadership is 7, I think, plus 1, so 8 with the data tether. So they're fine. Take that off. And both sides have scored 5 points for holding a objective each. So now we're going to be going into Imperium Turn 2. Okay, end of Imperium Turn 2. The Cataphrons have opened up into the warriors with their plasmas, eliminating 5. The Grav went into the big guy, but didn't get anything. So the Skitarii went into the warriors as well, and took off another 3 along with the Dominus there, who took off 1 of them. So two more from the Skitarii, 1 from the Dominus, leaving them on 2, so they could fail a morale test in the morale phase. Unless the Overlord decides to waste his Resurrection Orb. Well, we'll find out, because it is now time for Necrons Turn 2. And I had Protect Imperative active, so plus 1 Blessed Skill from my Skitarii. I had Benediction of the Omnissiah come active, thanks to using the Stratagem. So they managed to get some nice rerolls there. But other than that, they do get an extra light cover. So moving on then, we have the Necrons turn, and they are getting Protocol of Sudden Storm, so a little bit of extra maneuverability. So here we go. Okay, that was a pretty short turn for the Necrons. The Plasmancer floated up on top of the building, so you could see the Cataphrons there and get use of his Harbinger of Destruction ability, which scored 2 mortal wounds. And that went on to the Grav guy. The Immortals, Crypto Fools, and the Overlord huddled up to the building. Scarabs hopped onto an objective here. these guys ran up and managed to get one guy within range of the objective there. And the reanimators moving off to back up the pretty much fully healthy unit of warriors. Speaking of the unit of warriors, we've got one here that has lost 8 guys. So at least at 10, 2 or less, and they're fine. Ouch, they fail by 4. 4. Fail by 2. So for each point over the leadership, 1 model flees. Bloop, bloop. Oh, sorry, only a single model flees, but I take combat attrition tests, so anything but a 1. Oh, he's fine. So that one little warrior is going to be protecting that objective. But he has not gained the Overlord's favour. So, with that said, it's time for Imperium Turn 3. And I'm thinking... I'll go a Bulwark Imperative for the Skitarii, and Benediction of the Omnissiah now kicks in regardless for all units with that effect, instead of just the Cataphrons there. So, although they are losing on objective points, Imperium still hopes that they can come out on top. Here we go with turn 3. Okay, end of Imperium turn 3, and there's been a, well, pretty much an obliteration of everything Necron looking. Where do I start? Sisters broke cover and helped gunning down. Gunning down. Ugh, my words are not coming out right today. Broke cover, started gunning down the Necrons. The Plasmas just able to see through there, but the Necrons got cover. Tried to save as many as they can on the cover, but they did lose 6. 2 got back up. So they will need a morale test at the end of the phase. Grav went into the reanimator and did 4 damage. That's pretty cool. And these guys shot Arquebus at him missing, and everything else at one of the base of Scarabs, which the Flamers went at and eliminated the remaining 2 bases. Seraphim are yet to act, but I think they'll be coming into their own in the next turn. But the Necrons are up and activating Protocol of Vengeful Stars, so armor penetration improved for ranged attacks. And they are going to need to take back some serious ground, even though they are ahead on points by 20 to 10. Oh, that's a point. They scored 5 points for the objective there, and we still haven't eliminated a unit. Yes, we have eliminated Scarabs. So, providing the Necrons don't eliminate anything at the end of this turn, Imperium will get 4 points. So, here we go then with Necrons. Turn 3. Things aren't looking good for the Necrons. After moving forward to get as much in range as possible, they only killed a single Battle Sister. I dropped a Miracle Dice to make sure I saved 1, and the remaining 3 that went through I managed to save 2 of. Overall, the Necrons have only destroyed a single destroyer, so they haven't killed the entire unit, which meant the Sororitas scored an extra 4 points, pushing up to 24. The Plasmancer's Lance did go and do 2 damage to this guy, and his Harbinger of Destruction did 2 mortal wounds to the destroyers, which the Immortals managed to finish off. So, these guys have a morale test to take, and they need a less than a 4 would be nice. Ouch, 6. They fail, so 1 flees, and combat attrition. Oh, they're all fine. So, with that done, we can begin turn 4. So, that means we're going to switch to... Just because I can, Aggressor Imperative, so that's an extra 3-inch movement which isn't going to be needed. And I jump to Listening of Electromancer, which could be useful because the Cataphons are going to break cover and go for an objective. And it might draw the ire of the Necron Overlord. So, here we go then with the Imperium's Turn 4. Okay, end of Imperium Turn 4, and with a lot of helpful moving around, they've nabbed themselves 15 points, pushing them up to 39. So, all we got left to deal with is the Immortals, Overlord, Crypto Thralls, and the Reanimator. So, yeah, not a lot left to kill. We did kill 2 units, which is the Warriors here and the Warrior over there. So, providing they don't kill 2 units, we will gain an extra 4 points, pushing up to 43. And I think either way, it's going to be an Imperium victory. I still have 5 Miracle Dice left. So, yeah, I still have plenty out of the 6 I would have had. Oh, actually, no, I'd have been on my 7th for this turn. That's a 6. And starting Necron turn, my Miracle Dice is another 6. So, anyway, here we go with Necrons turn 3, and they are really going to have to do something. Bit late, but Protocol of the Undying Legions is active, and I think it will be... Reroll reanimation test for the 1 unit that can reanimate. Oh, 2 units that can reanimate, so that's alright. Here we go then, with Necrons turn 3. Okay, end of Necrons turn 4. And, it went a little bit, and it could have been. The Atomizer beams did their work killing 3 sisters. So they are going to need a morale test for them. I will drop a Miracle Dice of 2 for that test. So we're going to auto pass pretty much because we've only lost 4, so that's 6, and our leadership is 9. Thanks to the Canoness. Or is she 10? Can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, the Necrons turn though did go pretty well. The Plasmancer and his Crypto Thralls jumped down to get in range of the objective. The Reanimator charged in and got within the range of objective, so they scored 10 points. But the Imperium scored a total of 19 points on their turn. Well, 4 at the end, 15 from their turn. 4 at the end of the game round, putting up to 43 against 35 on the Necrons. We still have a chance. The Immortals and the Overlord will break cover, moving on to Objective 2. And as long as we can keep this side, we're going to be okay. But the Canoness is about to hopefully charge in and help, and so will the Seraphim. So they've been sitting back doing not a lot all turn. So it's time for them to get in on the action. So here we go then with the Imperium's 5th and final round. Turn 5. End of Imperium turn 5. The Battle Sisters locked in with the Reanimator, decided to fall back towards the objective, which freed up the Canoness and the Seraphim to shoot it, which they did, inflicting 3 wounds, 1 from Bolt Pistol and 2 from the Overcharging Plasma. The other Overcharging Plasma hit but failed to wound, and then the Canoness managed to luckily get 2 wounds on the Reanimator with a Power Sword, and it failed both its saves, killing it. It did, thanks to a command reroll, however, explode on a 6. So I lost another Seraphim, I lost 1 to Overwatch, took a wound on my Canoness, and I lost another Battle Sister. So there's going to be a lot of morale tests on this side. That's a point. Morale. The Scutari moved up. They killed 1 of the Immortals, meaning with the arc rifle, meaning everything else was free to shoot to the Overlord. But all failed because of a -1 thanks to the imperative and a -1 to moving. They wanted to try and get to the objective, but their advance roll didn't quite hit the high notes, I'm afraid. I should have done a command reroll, actually, now thinking of it. Oh well. So it is going to be Necrons Turn 5. Thinking of it, the only way they can get a win would be to control every objective on the board, and that's not going to happen. So I think I will call it there, because this video is going to be quite a long one anyway. So, all that's left to do then is see what's in our next Imperium. So, issue 56 brings us 2 new paints. I'm going to be painting up all the extra highlights on my battle system models that need it. So we're going to be doing quite a lot with the Administration Grey and Balor Brown, so highlighting the armour and the levers. That's going to be quite cool. And we learn about the Officio Assassinorum, and we obviously paint the highlights, and we get a new section on play rules. Issue 57, we get our second Tomb Blade, we learn about the Living Saint, and we get a new Warzone on Alectia foldout. So that was issue 55 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium. All what's left for me to do is to say thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more mad content. Also, don't forget to answer the question of the video, which is, which battle purport do you prefer? Do you prefer this, the top-down method, or do you prefer something a little bit more cinematic? So let me know in the comments down below. But that's everything, and I will see you next time then for more mad content. Goodbye.